Vaatv, Vietnamese American Arizona Television. Hôm nay, ngày 26 tháng 4 năm 2025, trong không khí cuối tuần lặng lẽ, thì City of Chandler đã cùng nhóm thiện nguyện viên gồm có chị Chandler, anh Jimmy, chị Uyên và Lan đã tổ chức event làm sống dậy sự lặng lẽ của cuối tuần này. Hôm nay là ngày dành để tuyên dương, tôn vinh và tưởng nhớ đến các anh hùng dân tộc chiến đấu hy sinh để giành chữ tự do cho nước nhà. Freedom, Hope and Future, tự do, hy vọng và tương lai. Dưới bầu trời rộng lớn của Arizona, nơi nắng vàng phủ lên sa mạc sắc đỏ rực rỡ, thành phố Chandler tụ họp, không phải trong đau thương mà trong hồi ức, không phải trong tuyệt vọng mà trong hy vọng. Nơi đây trên mảnh đất thiêng liêng, nơi quá khứ thì thầm và tương lai vẫy gọi, chúng ta tôn vinh những người lính Việt Nam và Hoa Kỳ, những chiến binh gắn kết bởi sự hy sinh, cách biệt bởi thời gian nhưng hòa chung trong ký ức. Lá cờ bay trong làn gió ấm, mỗi nếp gấp là một câu chuyện, mỗi sọc màu là một cuộc đời. Chúng ta đứng nơi họ từng đứng, không phải như bóng ma, mà như tiếng vọng của lòng dũng cảm. Đôi giày họ in dấu trên những cánh rừng xa lạ, những chiến trường bỏng cháy, trái tim nặng trĩu nghĩa vụ, tâm trí níu giữ hình ảnh quê nhà. Người trở về mang trong hồn những vết thương không thể thấy, kẻ yên nghỉ dưới những tấm bia trắng, tên họ khắc vào đá, tiếng nói hòa vào gió. Liệu họ có biết, ta tự hỏi, rằng ngày mai của họ chính là hôm nay của chúng ta? Lễ tưởng niệm ở Chandler không chỉ là đá và lời chào, mà là lời hứa giữa các thế hệ. Bàn tay run rẩy của cựu chiến binh, ánh mắt tò mò của đứa trẻ, giọt nước mắt lặng lẽ của người quá phụ, tất cả dệt nên tấm thảm của lòng biết ơn. Ở đây, quá khứ không ám ảnh, mà dạy dỗ. Người lính Việt Nam Cộng Hòa và nhóm thủy quân lục tiến Hoa Kỳ không thân quen nhưng chung một ký ức, và giờ lại chung một bầu trời, chung một nền hòa bình. Chiến tranh chia cắt họ, ký ức đoàn tụ họ. Ngày mai không được hứa hẹn, nhưng nó khả thi. Trong tiếng cười trẻ thơ nơi những anh hùng từng khóc, trong cái bắt tay của cựu thù, trong quyết tâm thầm lặng không bao giờ quên, ở đó có hy vọng. Những người đã khuất không được nhìn thấy bình minh này, nhưng họ đã mơ về nó, và thế ta cầm lấy giấc mơ của họ như ngọn đuốc soi trong đêm tối. Mặt trời lặn trên sa mạc, nhuộm đài tưởng niệm sắc vàng thoáng qua. Bóng đổ dài nhưng ánh sáng vẫn còn. Họ là hy vọng, là tương lai, là ngày mai chiến đấu. Và ở Chandler, dưới bầu trời rộng lớn và bao dung, ta tôn vinh họ không chỉ bằng nước mắt, mà bằng lời hứa về hòa bình mà họ hằng mong đợi.
Tự do, hy vọng, tương lai. Buổi tổ chức hôm nay là do thành phố Chandler kỷ niệm 50 năm hành trình người Việt ở trên nước Mỹ, và cũng là vinh danh những người cựu chiến binh Hoa Kỳ cũng như cựu chiến binh Việt Nam đã từng tham gia trong cuộc chiến tranh và đã góp phần cho những cái nỗ lực này. Thành phố muốn biết ơn, muốn tỏ lòng biết ơn tất cả mọi người đã có mặt ngày hôm nay và để tưởng niệm cái cuộc sống và những cái thành công của cựu thuyền nhân Việt Nam và con cháu của họ ở đất Mỹ, Hoa Kỳ.
For joining us here at the Chandler City Council Hall for this special event. We have most of our council here today, and I would love to introduce them. First, we have Vice Mayor Christine Ellis, Councilmember Matt Orlando, who will be our MC, Councilmember Jane Poston, and Councilmember Odie Harris. Today, we gather to commemorate the 50th anniversary of the fall of Saigon and to honor Vietnamese war veterans who served with courage and sacrifice. Today, we also celebrate the rich cultural heritage and resilience of our Vietnamese community who have enriched our city with their traditions, stories, and spirit. I've had the honor and privilege of attending dozens of events with our beautiful Vietnamese community over the past 2 decades in Chandler and Mesa, in Tempe and Glendale and Phoenix. New Year's celebrations, fashion shows, even a movie premiere, cultural events, rallies, and many family celebrations in homes over dinner. I'd like to take a moment to thank all who made today's event possible. Our community services and diversity, equity, and inclusion staff, our Vietnamese community leaders, and Councilmember Matt Orlando for leading the charge. Can we give them all a round of applause? I would like to read a proclamation to commemorate today as well. The fall of Saigon on April 30th, 1975, marked the end of decades of conflict and the beginning of a new chapter of hardship, displacement, and resilience for the Vietnamese people, as millions sought refuge and freedom beyond their homeland. And whereas April 30, 2025 marks the 50th anniversary of the fall of Saigon, the end of the Vietnamese War, and whereas the city of Chandler acknowledges the strength, resilience, and contributions of Vietnamese refugees and their descendants who have enriched our city with their culture, heritage, and hope for a brighter future. And whereas on Saturday, April 26, 2025, the city of Chandler will host Freedom, Hope, Future, honoring veterans and celebrating Vietnam culture at our Chandler City Hall, a community event that will reflect on the past, uplift voices of lived experiences, and celebrate Vietnamese culture through storytelling by Chantal Nguyen, Van Kluppenberg, and Jimmy Tram, performances, cuisine, and creative expressions. And whereas this event will create an honor ceremony and commemorative coin presentation to Vietnamese veterans, visual histories curated by the Chandler Museum and Vision Gallery, first-hand accounts from veterans and refugees, and cultural activities that showcase the enduring legacy of our Vietnamese community. Now therefore, I, Kevin Hartke, Mayor of the City of Chandler, do hereby proclaim April 26th as Vietnam War Commemoration and Vietnamese Culture Celebration Day. Thank you for being here. And now I would like to pass the mic, not to MC Hammer, but MC Orlando, our MC of the day.
Thank you, Mayor. Thank you very much. Chào mừng Binh. Good morning, everyone. As the mayor indicated, I'm Matt Orlando, retired Air Force veteran myself. Although I was too young to serve in the Vietnam War, I witnessed, like many of us, watched the war unfold, even in our own neighborhood of North New Jersey. Several of the older kids went and served in Vietnam. Many of my family members served. My cousins served in Vietnam, and others served the nation during the war. Logistics officers working.
Và mời các cựu chiến binh Việt Nam Cộng Hòa đã từng tham gia trong trận chiến tranh xin cũng đến để được nhận quà kỷ niệm tưởng niệm 50 năm các cựu quân nhân Việt Nam Cộng Hòa. Hỏi có thể nếu không lên được sẽ đứng tại chỗ.
tìm đến phương này một nhà thân ái. Tình Bắc duyên Nam là xuyên, tình chung muôn đời ta đắp xây. Say môi hồng tình ngát đôi lòng, mong vang chung bao. Mảnh đất dâng hương là hương, cần lao chung đời vai sát vai. Cùng góc bàn tay thương yêu nhau rồi, ngồi khoai hai mùa ngát một niềm vui chung vui cho thơm hương đời lúa vàng tình ơi. Người mãi hạnh khôn nơi nơi gieo về quê hương thôi đau, sâu em sông núi cách chia, ta đem yêu thương về cho phương Bắc. Tìm về mảnh vườn hoa thắm, hái bông tầm xuân.
His career spanned teaching secondary math and working as interpreter and translator since 2012. Married to Win Tom with 3 children, he enjoys the outdoors, traveling, and supporting veterans and underserved communities. Put your hands together for Jimmy John.
Well, I'm Jimmy Vincent fan.
but my wife wants to call me Jimmy Vu Tran. This is the name I was born with. And I am perhaps the last living generation of Vietnamese Americans that actually witnessed the war. I was 8 years old when I visited my mom in a Vietcong infested area. I don't know why on earth she was there, but she was there working as a nurse. And that night, flares just lit up the sky. It was bright as day. And I ran out wild-eyed in wonder, because this is the first time I saw the fighting that's not on TV. TV's, of course, flooded with images every day, but this is the first time I saw, and I played war games as kids, and I thought, wow, Mom, this is an actual fight. And there were bullets and bombs and things exploding all around us, and I wasn't afraid of danger because of being amazed by the flares and the sounds. But my mom yanked me out of that as soon as she could, and we went to the bunker. And the next morning, we left my mom to go back to Saigon, and I saw piles of dead bodies of the Viet Cong that were killed the night before. On the side of the road, literally, piles this high. And that left a lasting image in my head. I actually saw not just the fun of war like I thought as a boy, but the actual consequence. And I will never forget that. So that's why I think I'm the last living generation that actually experienced the war. And soon after the war ended, in 75, the year after, and we were stuck behind. My family decided not to flee, despite the fact that we should have. And my mom died a few years after because she had TB. And in the aftermath, food was scarce, medicine was scarce, fuel was scarce, and everything was scarce. And being the wife of a former South Vietnamese sergeant, she could not get the medical care that she should have deserved, and she died. I was only 11. That was really hard. And for a short time, maybe a year or two, sometimes we were forced to dig roots out of the ground to find something to eat because of the policies that the communist regime put in after severely limited agricultural production. And so food was scarce. We didn't have a widespread famine like in some other places, but everybody, a lot of people, including myself, was malnourished.
I think Jimmy just announced his candidacy for governor. Thank you, Jimmy. Heartwarming story, that's for sure. Now I'd like to introduce Bob Moffett. Bob is the founder and the president of the Harvest Foundation, which trains church leaders in over 30 countries to equip their communities using local.
My dad is here, and the American Vietnamese vet, thank you. Thank you for fighting for us. I read the story, I don't think my family even have heard it, but it was 50 years ago when I was only 7. And we left earlier than the normal refugees. It was April 28, 1975. And I was only 7. And I remember that night. It was already dark, and I heard all these chaotic outside. And I ran to the front door. I looked to my left. I looked to my right. And I see jeeps, like military jeep, coming in. And people were just running and scrambling and just jumping on these jeeps. And you guys all watch NASH, right? Those jeeps with the 2 benches in the back. People were climbing on there. And I'm like, where's my dad? He's not home yet. And in the back of my mind, I hear my mom calling me. My mom said, can you go cook some rice? I'm like, I'm a 7-year-old, guys. Everything's going on here. You want me to cook rice? So I went and got some rice, went to the backyard. In the backyard, it's really only like 6 feet where you can touch the backyard, the back neighbor's door, you know? went to the well, got some water out, and I think I cooked the rice. I ran to the front door again, and I looked to my right and my left, and I saw this man sitting there, and I said, "Sir, aren't you going to go?" And he said, "No, I'm not leaving my country." And I said, "Oh, okay." And then Daddy finally came home, and he said, "It's time to go. Mom just had a baby, 7 days old. And then over there, your midwife is really your next door neighbor, an elderly lady who come over to cut the cord. And Mom was still really weak, and Dad said, we gotta go. And she said, I can't go. And Dad said, we gotta go. And so we packed up with what we have, and we walked like Hobo Joe, you know. And so finally we went to the shore. We took off on this boat, went to Phu Quoc Island, which is part of Vietnam. And we stayed there for a couple weeks, and then Dad had to come back to the peninsula of Saigon to get his paperwork and whatever else we need. And from there, we had to wait to get on a boat. Finally, they called our number. We got on the boat, and they took out into the middle of the ocean. And we saw this big American ship, great ship. It was huge. I was like a little ant, okay? And so I'm like, I have to climb up that thing? And they threw this ladder down. It's like a rope. And Dad helped Mom climb up onto that ship. And my aunt, who was with us, wanted to go up north to her mom and dad and her 14-year-old brother up to Hawaii. And that's like, you know, from Sacramento down to LA, that's how far it is. And so Dad said, you can't go. They've already came in. They've already invaded the DC, you know. So my aunt was very sad. She was 18 and she's here with us today too. And so, you know, so we walked and we finally got on the ocean. We got on that ship and I climbed up and I said, please don't let me fall into the ocean. I was really scared. Got up there on the railing and then I looked over the boat and there was this big hole on the bottom of the boat. And it was one of those ship that is a tanker. And all these people, I asked Dad, how many people can fit on the ship? It's about 5,000. So we made it like 8-minute rice. We don't have microwave back then, I don't think so. But I remember it was steamy and hot. It was just white. And then a can of Spam or whatever we had, you know. Finally, the ship took us to the Philippine island. I felt like I was in paradise. There we lived in tents with other families. We, you know, go get in line, get food. Mom helped, my aunt helped the kids, and my dad helped us, and Mom mainly just stayed with the baby. My brother is 50 years old today. That Bugs Bunny movie. It was like out in the theater. I've never been to a theater before. And from there, from the Philippine island, we flew to Guam. We stayed in Guam for a couple of weeks. And then from Guam, we flew to Camp Pendleton. There we stayed for a couple months. And the one thing that I remember about Camp Pendleton was when we were finally sponsored was this redhead guy on a TV show called Happy Day. And so you guys know who Richie Cunningham is, right? Ron Howard. Kevin, our mayor, is one of the best mayors in Arizona. And he is so supportive to whatever we do, you know, with different culture. He's always learning. And then, did you speak Vietnamese today, Kevin?
I did.
What did you say?
I said, Dao, Qui Vi.
Isn't that good? And then how do you say?
Come on.
Yes. And he just learned this last night. So it's amazing. His pronunciation is even amazing. But that might be way, you know, so. And then Sarah, Carol, who got all her vets here too. So she's amazing. And then DEI, and then ANHPI is here. And if I'm missing anybody else, forgive me, but thank you so much for being here. And please go enjoy yourself, okay? Go enjoy yourself.
Thank you.
Linh Vi xin cảm ơn sự theo dõi của tất cả quý vị trong những giây phút vừa qua. Chương trình VATV xin kính chào, tạm biệt và xin hẹn gặp lại quý vị vào lần phát hình kỳ tới. Mọi chi tiết về thông tin thương mại và bảo trợ, xin mời quý vị hãy liên lạc về địa chỉ email vaatelevision@gmail.com và số điện thoại là 480 289 9816, 480 289 9816, website vaatv.com và vaaznews.com. Xin kính chào, tạm biệt.